Willpower isn't just some magical force that wells up inside of you and powers your motivation to get things done. Sure, willpower comes from within, but many things that promote willpower come from without. Today, I'm talking about things that you can do to your brain that cause you to have better willpower and stay motivated. According to Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, a famous psychologist who studies motivation, most things that people do are not purely motivated by internal intrinsic willpower or external factors, but instead some combination of the two. He has argued that some things we are initially forced to do against our will turn out in the course of time to be intrinsically rewarding. In other words, at first you'll need to pressure your brain into getting things done, perhaps using some of the tips I'll be sharing with you in just a minute. But then, eventually, as the habits develop, the willpower snowball will start rolling down on its own, and your intrinsic motivation will partially take over. Why does this happen? It's because not all of your brain is intelligent. Only a few parts of your brain are the thinky parts, the more conscious parts, that are wise enough to want to brush your teeth every day. Other parts of your brain, the less conscious parts, have no clue why brushing your teeth would be a good idea. The weird part is that when it comes time for your brain to vote on an activity for the human to do, these unconscious parts still get to vote, even though their votes are very uninformed and they usually vote for whatever activity spends less energy. They'll probably vote for napping instead of brushing your teeth, for example. They tend to vote for whatever is easy to do. But one way to communicate with these less conscious parts of the brain in order to convince them to change their votes is by building a habit. Building a habit is like building a road in your brain. The more times that you do a habit, the more bricks that you lay down in your road, and the easier it is for the electrochemical activity in your brain to follow the road. As a result, you'll have a better chance of doing what the intrinsically motivated part of your brain wants to do, like homework or learning a new skill. This is good news. It means that we can take advantage of external factors in order to promote better intrinsic willpower. Here are 7 ways that you can structure the environment that your brain lives in order to promote willpower. Number 1, use reminders. There's a good reason why people make to-do lists or leave reminders like post-it notes for themselves. It's because people are not constantly thinking about what they are supposed to be doing. When you find yourself, for example, accidentally sitting in front of a screen watching an endless series of YouTube videos, you are probably not actively evaluating how you are spending your time. But if you set up reminders, you can pull yourself out of the automatic slump that you've fallen into by reactivating the part of your brain that imagines the future and makes intelligent decisions. You could, for example, set alarms for yourself that go off when you're supposed to remember to do something. I have an app on my computer that tells me when I've spent a certain amount of time goofing off, which lets me evaluate whether I'm supposed to be spending my time somewhere else. I also have time limits for social media apps on my phone, to make sure I don't lose hours of my day looking at cat photos. It's also a good idea to try and avoid reminding yourself of unproductive things that you could be doing. If you have a video game console, hide the controllers so that it's harder to just pick them up and play. If you have 24 bags of potato chips, keep them hidden away instead of in plain sight where you can easily grab and eat them. Number 2, get enough sleep with a regular sleep schedule. Your brain will have an easier time remembering to do the things it is supposed to do and staying motivated to spend the energy to do those things if it isn't exhausted. People tend to underestimate how much their productivity, abilities, and mood are affected by not getting enough sleep. Similarly, establishing a habit of specific times when you go to bed and get up in the morning helps your brain to know what to expect each night and day, making it easier for you to stay motivated to do the things that need doing. Additionally, certain behaviors like exposing your eyes to light right before you go to bed can disrupt your sleep, so maintain good sleep hygiene by not using any technological devices that emit light into your eyeballs right before bed. Number 3, have consistent habits. Here's how to establish a habit. First, find a simple and obvious cue. Second, clearly define the rewards. The habit that I have been trying to establish for the last 5 months is to practice my touch typing every day. My cue is that every time I open the web browser on my computer, a daily to-do spreadsheet pops up automatically. This cues me to start filling in my to-do list, and one of those things on my to-do list is to practice my typing. My clearly defined rewards are that I get to check off the day on my to-do list, watch the colors fill in, and the points increase. My other reward is that I get to watch myself improve in my typing speed. In December, my words per minute were less than 10, and now my average is 37. As you keep doing your new habit, it will begin to become automatic. In one study, 50% of people saw a new habit become asymptotically automatic in 39 to 102 days. Be patient and remember to motivate yourself externally with reminders until the behavior is so easy that you hardly even need to think about it anymore. For example, I start my mornings pretty much the same way every time, with my cat jumping on my chest and politely demanding breakfast. Whenever I feed my cat, I go to the kitchen and I see my bottle of vitamin D supplements that I take because I'm a grad student and I rarely expose my skin to sunlight. Because I see the supplements, I take them, and then I can cross that off of my to-do list for the morning and get the snowball rolling towards a productive day. Number 4. Be hygienic and dress nicely, even if you aren't going anywhere. All of my meetings right now take place virtually, but I still wear a nice shirt and usually a tie when I attend them. Why? Because it preserves normalcy, and it shows my brain that I am taking the day seriously and am not planning on spending the day in the bathtub with a bottle of wine and a book. If you instead choose to skip the shower and wear the same clothes that you wore to bed, well, you're basically telling your brain that today isn't a work day and that it's okay if you don't get any of your homework done and instead play Minecraft all day. Number 5. Structure your work time specifically. You can prevent yourself from falling into unproductive loops of checking your messages on your phone and looking in the fridge for new food to eat by specifically setting up times when you are going to be productive. I'm a writer, for example, and I try to set up times on my calendar when I'm going to specifically sit down and write. Or if I have a deadline coming up, I'll try to estimate how many hours it will take me to complete it. And then I block out that number of hours and block my kitty from entering my office so I can focus during that time. Number 6. Just jump into it and harness your impulsivity. If you find yourself low on motivation and not sure how to start the thing that you're supposed to be doing, or maybe you'd really rather just do anything else, anything at all, sometimes the best cure is to just jump into it. There are pretty much constantly dishes to be done in my kitchen sink, and the best way that I've found to manage those dishes is to just start doing them. Usually, if I just start, I make a lot more progress than I expected to make. This is especially true when a thing that you're supposed to be doing will only take a little while to do. If there's any task that you could be doing right now that would make your life a little less stressful in the future, just jump into it. Treat it like a random act of kindness for your future self, who probably has other stuff to worry about. Number 7. Be empathetic towards yourself. You know how when a young kid or an animal screws up and makes a mistake, we assume the best of them and forgive them because we know they weren't trying to be bad, they're just too dumb to know any better? You should extend that same kindness and understanding to the less conscious parts of your brain. It's like having a group of wild animals as roommates inside of your brain. The iguana just wants to sit somewhere warm and nap all day and doesn't understand why you would ever intentionally put on an uncomfortable pair of pants so that you can go outside. The rabbit wants to find other rabbits to canoodle with and doesn't comprehend why you aren't attempting to make out with every attractive person you encounter. The starfish is just focused on finding food and doesn't even know what taxes are, let alone how to file them. And the monkey just wants to hang out with its friends all day and eat fruit, and you can expect it to blow a big raspberry at any idea even remotely resembling showing up on time for a dentist's appointment. Those guys may be annoying, but they're just animals. Be kind to them, be patient with yourself, and slowly try to teach them to behave themselves when needed. Self-regulation, like choosing to spend your time on something productive rather than napping, is a skill. It takes time to get good at it. But keep practicing at these things, and eventually your willpower will be better than you ever expected.